Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Thank you so much, Gertrude. My name is Leighton. I'm based in the Bronx, New York, which is the land of the Lenapes and Mohegan Indians, as well as many other immigrants that have come to our country. And sometimes when we live in a city that's so crowded, you end up seeing the best and worst of people. And often their energies and how they treat you and others will motivate you to do work that might improve society. And this is my hope with what I call both the kindness session and my Leighton inclusion interview show, which is heard on YouTube. What happened is I've been in a neighborhood where there were a number of people that had massive political ambition, and they would do things to hurt others. And it didn't really matter what political party they belonged to. They would still, for the sake of ambition, do things to hurt others, notably the homeless people. And I had stood up to one of them for attacking a homeless man and spreading lies about him. And through the years, a number of this woman's friends and family got involved. One night, well, periodically, she lived next door to me. Periodically, she would leave her animals outside, neglected. Nobody would be paying attention. And one night, I'm at 9:30 at night, summer night, the sun had set for at least an hour, and I'm walking by and I see the mother cat outside on the sidewalk between her driveway and the street. So I did what any normal person would do. I rang their doorbell, said, "Your cat's outside." And instead of running down to come and get the cat, they ran down and started hitting me, which was shocking. And I started running. And as soon as I got home, I called the police about it. And yes, the police did come, but they said to me, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't take a police report because you didn't videotape it." And I thought that was rather strange because the police will take reports from anybody and everybody because you want to investigate risks. You want to have a file of people's negative actions. Flashing forward a few months later, they started knocking on my door one night and said that their cat was missing, and they tried to break down the door and push in. And I had opened the door initially to check on them, to check to see who it was. And of course, they pushed in the door and they weren't able to get into the apartment. I'm not sure what happened. It was definitely a miracle that stop them because there was a mat in the front part of my door and that just stopped them. So flash forward, the police came. This attack was videotaped because my building has a video camera in front of everybody's apartments, but they still elected not to take a police report. I realized that the reason the cops didn't want to take a police report is because they were involved with local politics. They had done things like go to people that were barbecuing and say you shouldn't barbecue in our neighborhood, and a range of other things. Plus, there were members of their organizations that like to yell at people. So I reached out to a number of my then elected officials, including three that are still in office, and I asked for help. One person, my city council man, called them and said, "Well, we'll help." And they, I went into the police precinct to file a report, and again the police refused to take a report. So I called that city councilman's office back up and said, "Hey, they're not budging." And instead of saying, "Okay, I'll do a follow-up call," the guy that represented me said, "Why are you calling? Why are you following up on this? Give it up, lady." And it was just kind of shocking to go through. As time passed, I contacted the Bronx County Historical Society, and I asked them if we could do workshops about recognizing the difference between kindness and cruelty. And they were so enthused about that. We ended up doing the workshops at the Edgar Allan Poe Visitor Center in the Kingsbridge section of the Bronx. And we've done 3 workshops so far. In addition, I've been hosting an interview show on YouTube where I just talk with various people that I've met along my journeys, and we talk about their creative energies as well as different aspects of inclusion. Flash forward to today, I think it's so important that we do have inclusion, and a lot of people will be writing me and have written me through the years. Plus, I've reached out to a number of kindness organizations, and I will continue to do that. Let them know what I'm doing with the Bronx County Historical Society, as well as often looking for interesting people to interview. And in 2026, we have a fascinating group of people that will be interviewing many local musicians from New York City, as well as parents that have worked hard to get their kids. One parent had a child that was kidnapped, and he worked really hard to get his son back, and now he spreads the word about children and advocating to make sure that they are protected wherever they go, because we've got a future for all kinds of people, children of all ages, as well as grown-ups. Sometimes the older you get, the lonelier you feel. Sometimes you might be a teenager and feel like there's no one there for you. I want people to reach out and try and create tribes, just as Gertrude is doing here, a tribe of women telling our stories in her story, global. But I also want people to feel they have tribes where they can learn what kindness is, how to recognize the people that do care about them, and ways that they can all help each other. That's something I'd like to do, and I think I'm going to continue to do that and do a good job of it. Thank you for
And
having me.
absolute pleasure. And it's wonderful to meet someone who has a focus on kindness. Inclusion is something that is needed, especially right now in the United States with everything that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
So, how did growing up feeling bullied shape your self as a woman shape the woman that you became?
There's a two-part story to that because periodically I would join the bulliers because they seemed to be more popular. But most of the time, I think I felt isolated, but I was isolated enough to collect my feelings and write about it. And that helped get me on a journey as a professional writer.
That is fascinating. And you describe yourself as a connector. Where did that identity come from?
I think initially it came where I was helping bands in the 1980s and late 70s create opportunities for themselves. And I I'm still finding business cards from that time as well as index cards that have contact info. And some of those folks I've reached out to say, "Hey, are you around? What's up?" And I found a few publicists on LinkedIn and a few bands on Facebook or Instagram. So it's a never-ending search to connect with people.
I love it. Now, what did the music industry teach you about belonging and exclusion?
The music industry is really contains thousands and maybe millions of businesses. We all have our own music business. I think that one of the things that the music industry taught me was you can't do it alone.
Yeah.
And we can combine our businesses and create win-win situations. And I've done that before, and I'll do it again.
Yeah, it's when people start working in the collective where we really have power, right?
Absolutely agreed, 100%.
Now, what was it like to step away from poetry, and what was it that called you back?
That's interesting because I actually did step away from poetry and freelance writing in the late 1990s. I
Mhm.
felt that there were a lot of people that just didn't read my work. I would send them out to magazines. I did all right with open mics, and I think I felt rejected. So I
Mhm.
was like, if I write something, I'm just going to write it for myself. And there were a few years that I just didn't do any creative writing. I focused heavily on my job. But back about 2007, 2008, one of my friends from Philadelphia, City of Brotherly Love, was creating an album about healthy eating. And I said, hey, I'd like to write a poem for that and read a poem for that. And I did. And they put some music to it. And that album ended up getting a Grammy nomination for Best Spoken Word. We were competing with Julie Andrews, who won that year. Oh, well.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. So it really took you to another place.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Why do
so
you
I'm
believe
recording. I'm
so why,
sorry.
so why do you believe so many women stay in relationships or spaces rooted in cruelty?
I know that I've been in a few relationships rooted in cruelty. The woman whose family beat me up, I kept that relationship going for about 2 years, even though I was seeing different ways that she was abusing other people and me.
Yeah.
Nothing, nothing to the point of what she did to that homeless person. But I thought that I could change her if I spoke up. And
Mm,
about that time, I had a few other relationships where the people were cruel. So there it was a pattern of behavior on my end where I
yeah.
was trying to get people to wake up and see their mean behavior. It didn't work. And I think one of the things actually that I learned, I'm creating a new question, is find the people that are nice. Don't
Mm.
you can't change those people. You can only pray for them.
Mm, that's very true. Now, how do you personally define the difference between kindness and cruelty today?
Great. I think kindness is really how, as Maya Angelou said, how people made you feel.
Yeah.
And if you see them using their energy to say mean things or physically do mean things to either you or to others, that's
Mhm.
not kind, that's cruel.
Yeah.
And when you're in a relationship, you might be feeling meanness and you're speaking up for yourself repeatedly and there are no changes. I think the only people that I've learned to speak up against now would be local politicians or service people that should be in public service.
Mm.
Um, so I think the difference between kindness is really how you're treated by others.
So true. So, what happens inside your workshops when people finally feel seen? Tell us about the workshops that you've run.
There was a wonderful workshop where we all were meeting at the Poe Visitor Center. There was an elderly woman, 80s or 90s. She had
Mm.
trouble walking, but man, she was determined to either get upstairs and then to sit down. And when it came time to writing, she wrote a phrase that everybody in the workshop went, "Oh, yeah," meaning I've been through this. She used the line, "He told me I was too sensitive."
Mm.
And bam, it was a click. We all connected mentally with that phrase. That's a beautiful and dramatic thing that has happened, but it's also I found friends. Last night I went to a friend's online interview that he had on YouTube just to
Right.
listen, and I'm going to send him a note today cheering him and the poet on. He came to my workshop and he made me feel like $1,000,000 because he was a massively creative man, and I could feel his energy.
That's just awesome. Absolutely wonderful. Now, how do you help others recognize when it's time to walk away?
I'm not sure if I'm the best person to help. I'm definitely a good person to be there, and I think if someone is coming to me repeatedly with upsetness, instead of saying walk away from that person because they won't listen to that, and there
Mm.
are exceptions because people do, I'll say something like, call me anytime, or I'm usually up till midnight, call me till then. And I will also check in with them to see how they're doing. It's really hard to get people to walk away from abusive relationships. Like I say, I'd been in a number of them, and I just thought I could change the people and make the situation better. And
Wow,
it's taken me years with some people to realize, no, I couldn't.
it's not going to work. So,
Yeah.
what does finding your tribe really look like in practice, do you think?
Well, that's a good question. I think, well, here in the Bronx, I have friends all over, and they'll say, "Hey, let's get together in the new year." So I remember to call them back and say, "Hey, are you around?" If it's
Mm.
someone that's in a different market, city, part of the country, part of the world, I'll reach out to them and post likes. Sometimes I'll send them a note. I've got a couple of friends. I hear your accent, and you're from the continent of Africa.
Mhm.
And I heard your TED speech. So I have a lot of friends in South Africa,
Okay.
and I've written to friends and posted them. A couple of them I've encouraged with their songwriting.
Right.
but I find that their posts are full of love and motivation. And I know that they're on that kind of journey for self-improvement. They want to make people feel good. You can see it. I'll reach
Mm,
out to them. I like it.
that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, if you could give women one permission slip today, what would it be?
You don't need my permission. That's my permission. But if you need permission to do what you want, and I'm quoting Gloria Steinem because there's a time where she appeared on the Oprah Winfrey show, and one of the audience members said, I I I don't know how to explain it to my family, but I've just decided to do what I want, and my family doesn't understand that. And Gloria said, "That's exactly it. You don't need anyone's permission. You go for what you want."
Mm,
So I would paraphrase Gloria for sure.
I love it. So, what do you want every listener to do differently after hearing your story?
I hope that we can generate energy and from ourselves, from our own guts,
Mm,
brains, hearts, and say, hey, I want to go where the good people are, not where the boys are. There's a great song from the 1950s, 60s from Connie Francis, Where the Boys Are. It's where the good people are. I want to go there. And I
mm,
want to hang out with people that are full of love. And there are ways of recognizing it until it becomes unrecognizable.
oh,
Um,
I like
and
that.
talk, yeah, do talk things out with people that you have misunderstandings for. I'm quoting Pete Seeger on that.
Dialogue and conversation can solve a lot of the world's issues, right?
Oh, yeah, you could say that again and again. And
So, looking,
personal issues.
yeah, that's true. So, looking back now, how do you honor the version of yourself who felt alone but still chose kindness?
Writing, for sure. Public speaking, I'm a Toastmaster and I'll do Toastmasters and talk about my journey there.
Hmm.
Articles, doing the interview show, helping others recognize it. And I think also not being alone. If I need to hang out with somebody, I will make some phone calls.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah. We can't wait for someone to call us. We have to make a couple of phone calls when we're lonely. And
Yep.
sometimes
You-
when you make yeah, sometimes when you make those phone calls, sometimes people will say, "Oh, I don't have any time for you," or "Wow, you're crazy," or something like that. That's not your tribe. Keep going.
Yeah, and it's about taking responsibility for your own joy and happiness, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It has to come from you. So, how has reclaiming your voice through poetry changed the way that you take up space in the world right now?
I just keep doing it. I
Mhm,
can't stop. I think also reclaiming is a really good word for me this year from late last year. I had a couple of assignments that took up a lot of time, and people kept asking me to work for them, and I just didn't have the space
mm,
to take everybody on.
yeah.
And because I was doing this interview show and writing and preparing these workshops because I do want to always find new poems.
Mhm,
I think I needed that time for myself. I needed time to sleep. So I think honoring my dreams, going through my ideas and developing at least one or two ideas each week, getting something
mhm.
done, that helps.
That's nice. So, what does inclusion feel like in your body? And how do you know when you're truly safe to be yourself?
Okay, I really appreciate that, and I have an answer. It's healthier. It feels healthier. It feels like I've gotten enough sleep. It's stress-free, and it's the best feeling. It really is. And I think it is healthier. I think the more I've been hanging out with functional, creative, happy people that
Mhm.
will listen and will share how they feel, I think I've felt less depressed and less upset at the world. Somebody's posted these memes online where it says, before you check for mental depression, uh, check to make sure that you're not hanging out with a bunch of turkeys.
That is a very good quote. I love it.
Share it.
Absolutely beautiful. My last two questions for you are a bit of a thought experiment. In the first one, I'm going to teleport you back to the past. And we're going to go and have a conversation with the younger you, this young woman who was trying to figure out the world, find her space, align with people who are kind. Based on what life has taught you up until this point, if you could go back and give her three nuggets of wisdom, what would those three nuggets of wisdom be from what life has taught you up until now?
Well, one thing would be definitely to eat more protein than sugar and carbs. But another thing when it comes to human relations is to understand how much people need love and also be aware of how much you need love and to be friends with the people that are kind, that are reaching out. Learn learn the people that love you, I think. And I'm not sure how many that is, but
I
we
think you
can
gave
do
us
it.
three. That's good. The last question is futuristic, and I'm going to teleport you into the future this time.
Cool.
And we are going to go and have a conversation with a 90-year-old you.
Mm.
Maybe you are on stage at an open mic event doing your thing, or maybe you're sitting in your rocking chair. If we could go into the future to meet this wise woman who has led you up until that point, what will you say to her when you finally meet her?
I will say you are still rocking on stage, and you can read your poetry sitting down and standing up, but continue to walk the talk. And I think this woman would say that to me too. Uh, I think I think this woman would probably also know more clues about what kindness looks like and what cruelty looks like. I think w- we have about 30 years between us, and I think that she'll show me what I need to know.
I love it. The reason why I like to ask women that question and is a lot of women don't even realize that the wise woman is already in them,
Hmm.
that she is that quiet voice that guides you, that tells you this is wrong, say something, do something, advocate.
Yes,
We
yes,
forget
yes.
there. So, thank you for tapping into your wisdom. A lot of women look outside of themselves for answers instead of going within. And you have gone within, and she's there waiting for you at the age of 90 to catch up with her.
I bet yours is too.
Now, is there anything else I should have asked you and I didn't?
I think I want to just give a quick summary on how people can recognize the difference between kindness and cruelty. And the first step is recognizing the difference. Second step would probably be seeing that behavior in yourself. Are you being kind? And then the final step is to go after the kind people, make friends with them and bond, build a relationship.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for coming online and sharing your story with us, Anne. It's been a pleasure meeting you.
You too. It really has been. And I look forward to connecting with you in the future. Thank you so much.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We're a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share these stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to help take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story. Thank you so much.